Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and what we have for you today is a review of the TCL QLED TV that was recently launched. Now TCL announced three different types of QLED TVs. One was of course their flagship 8K QLED TV, and under their 4K QLED TV banner they had the C815 and the TCL C715. Now the 815 is available in 55 inches, 65 inches and 75 inches, and they are the higher tier model. The one we have for review today is the TCL C715, which is available in 50, 55 and 65 inches. We have the 65 inch in office, rather at home here for review, which is priced at about 80,000 rupees, and the 55 inch is at 55,919, which is about 56,000 rupees, and the 50 inch variant is at about 46,000 rupees. The one we have here is the 65 inch variant for review. So let's quickly get started with the build and design. The TV has a very simple traditional design. It's a QLED TV, so it isn't really the slimmest one out there, but it isn't the thickest also, which is actually kind of good because it has a nice profile. And keeping this profile in mind, all the ports are on one side seamlessly located, so you really don't have to struggle to get behind the TV, something I really like if you are going to wall mount this TV. For connectivity, it has a standard slew of ports. You have 3 HDMI ports, one of which is ARC enabled. You have 2 USB ports. You have good old antenna. You have an optical out. You also have 3.5mm headphones out, which I actually really appreciate. And at the back, you do have this toggle for a Google Assistant, which we will get to in a bit. A thing that I really like, actually two things I really like about this TV. The first in its design is the fact that the bezels are almost invisibly slim, so you just get this full immersive display experience, which is really, really nice. The second thing which we have in the past seen on some Sony TVs is the fact that you actually have two positioning for the feet of this TV. So you could position the feet wide if you're putting it on a table, it stands on 2 feet, or you could position the feet slightly narrow like we have, because the table that we had wouldn't fit the TV if we put the feet in the wide position. So this TV should fit on your entertainment center if it isn't the widest out there. Even if you need the 65 inch variant, you can put the feet inside to give you that fitting experience. The TV is high enough that you can fit your set-top box, a gaming console, or a soundbar below it, but a soundbar might be a little thick, but gaming consoles and your set-top box kind of just fit under it really seamlessly and easily. So the build and fit and finish of this TV is really nice. Now let's move on to the remote control before we get into the performance, because the remote control is something we can talk about very little and just get it out of the way. It's minimalistic, it's simple, it's something we've seen in the past. It has a dedicated Netflix button, which is great if that's your choice of OTT. I do wish it had I think this should be something TVs should just do now, is give you 2 configurable buttons to make hotkeys. I mean, how hard could that be, right? You could probably program them, but nonetheless, you have Netflix, you have the keyboard, you have a dedicated button for the Google Assistant, a microphone also up there, power and all the standard controls. It does miss out on a mute button, something that I prefer, but otherwise it's a functional, simple, good remote. It has a curved back, which means I get a good grip out of it. I'm okay with the dead space out here actually, because I anyway end up holding the remote like this, and it's comfortable, it's convenient, it gets the job done. Let's move on to the most important thing, which is the picture quality now, before we get into the UI and things like that. This TV, the 65 inch one that we have, is a QLED TV. It's 4K, it's HDR with support for Dolby Vision, HDR 10, 10 plus, HLG support, and it also says it supports Dolby Atmos, but you don't get the Dolby Atmos logo when you're watching content on Netflix, for example, but that's okay. You can't expect the 230 watt speakers to give you sound from above and the back. That's just expecting too much. But the picture quality on this TV is actually pretty good. It's a very decent experience, especially if you're going to watch Dolby Vision content of Netflix, if you're going to watch some HDR content on it. We even plugged in a Fire TV stick and saw something of the Apple TV Plus app, which is in Dolby Vision. All of that stuff looked great. We played our standard slew of test content, which you're probably seeing right now. And it's safe to say that Dolby Vision content looks nice. I mean, in a show like Altered Carbon, you really do get the details in the protagonist's armor. In Our Planet, the visuals just look stunningly beautiful. Yes, when things go dim and dark, that is when you feel that the panel brightness should have been a little better to show off dark sequences, but that's a minor gripe, because if you have curtains, if you don't have a very, very brightly lit room, you still can get the job done. SDR content is something else that also looks absolutely fantastic on this TV. We saw a lot of soap opera shows, be it stuff like Young Sheldon, Big Bang Theory, anything else that you prefer to watch which is basic everyday TV in SDR, and it's not even in 4K. It looks crisp, it looks nice. 65-inch TV is really big, so if you're up close you might notice the slight degradation in the pixelation if it's 720p content, but if you're sitting afar from it, that shouldn't really be a problem. The problem actually came in just one scenario, and once I spoke to TCL about it, they issued an update for the TV, and this issue was fixed to a certain extent, and TCL also confirmed the fact that when you pick up this TV, it will be running on the updated software out of the box, so you won't face this issue. But it is something that you will notice very selectively. In a trailer like Blade Runner 2049, for example, when there are absolute close-ups of people's faces, it just looks unnaturally yellow a little bit. The tone is warmer than I'd like, but this is only on faces. Now, something like the Grand Tour, where season 1 episode 1 on Prime Videos, where you open it up and you have this nice big shot of cars going all over the desert. The desert does look a little bit more muted. You can change the preset to dynamic to get it a little more vivid, but then the skin tones appear a little burnt, they appear a little oversaturated, and then you kind of have to go back to the standard preset to get the skin tones right. That's a minor gripe I have with the TV, is in such situations where the skin tone kind of looks yellower than it should, but that's okay. I mean, considering the advantages it brings, you can nitpick a little bit on the picture quality of this TV. So the picture quality is good. Even when we played games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a great game in HDR. We played Forza Horizon, we played Doom Eternal. Forza Horizon is a game that on a lot of budget TVs, when you're driving through areas which have a lot of greenery around you, there's a lot of shadow being cast, the picture looks a little darker, a little duller than I'd like. But on this TV, it was actually pretty decent. So that's a nice thing if that's the kind of games you play. Doom Eternal, where the enemies flash when you're going in for a glory kill. The enemies flash. You get that nice bright flashing of the enemies once you're up close. The overall environments in some cases are dark, but they are actually nicely detailed on this TV. It was fun playing this game. And a game like Assassin's Creed, again, for the skin tones and for certain environments in the game, did have a slight warmer tone than I'd like, considering the warm tone issue, which was brought down considerably after the update, but it's still there a little bit. When it comes to sound, if you're going to watch regular TV shows, and even for a few movies, the TV should get the job done quite well. A game like Doom Eternal, we really didn't enjoy the bangs and thuds of the music, which is kind of like rock music in the background, and you have the shotguns which actually go bang. That kind of sound is missing. The engine draw from a game like Forza Horizon was actually pretty decent. It was immersive enough. Vocals on the TV are good, so if you're going to watch a lot of TV or news or soap opera shows, you should be able to get the vocals really right. You should be able to get some music out of the TV as well for background scores of movies and things like that. But for an absolutely immersive movie watching experience, you might want to consider the higher end TCL TVs which come with on-cue powered speakers. This one is a more basic setup. I mean, it is loud, the speakers, but they aren't the best out there. I mean, the OnePlus Q1 last year had kind of like a really good speaker set on a television, but this one is kind of okay, gets the job done. The place which I have a problem with on this TV is the UI. It's running stock Android. You get all the apps from the Google Play Store. Overall, it's functional. I mean, even the Google Assistant button on the remote control works well, and it's really nice that it has far field mic, so you could literally lose the remote and say things like "Okay Google" and the TV will respond. The problem is everything it responds to takes a heartbeat longer than I'd like. So I could say something like "Okay Google, play Stranger Things on Netflix," and I actually have to wait and wait and wait, exactly like you and I are waiting for me to continue right now, and then the TV will respond. So it does take its own sweet time to get to that position where OK Google feels natural. I can say things like, OK Google, tell me a joke, let's play a game, play X trailer on YouTube, open this app. All the Google Assistant features work. If I had a smart home which had a Google Assistant enabled light, for example, I could have been able to control that as well, but unfortunately I don't. So yes, the Google Assistant, the entire Google Android TV ecosystem is there, but the far field mic, they worked 80% of the time, and in that 80% of the time, for most of the time, I actually had to give a breather after each command and wait for it to be executed. Maybe this can be fixed via an update, I don't know, but that's just how it felt. It felt easier to just go and use the remote's microphone because that responded slightly faster in my experience. Or, if you like customizing your Android TV layout, you could just be faster with the remote control. That's my only gripe. We have reviewed the Sony A9G, which is a high-end Sony OLED TV. There is no comparison in the price because that one goes in the lakhs and this one is still half a lakh of rupees for this TV, but that one is multiple lakhs. That one had fantastic far-field mics and far-field voice performance, and that was much snappier. This is just to give you a comparison of a snappy far-field experience versus this one. It's great that this TV has it. I see a lot of potential in it, but its experience could have been a lot better. So, and of course, yeah, you guys should remember that there is a physical toggle for the mic at the back of the TV. You might want to switch that on, and then you can control the far field mics on or off from the software of the TV's user interface. There is a small band at the bottom of the television which kind of shows you the lights come on when the Google Assistant is enabled. You can customize that from the settings as well. Speaking of the settings, they're really easy to control on this TV. You have essentially dynamic and standard, the two that I would toggle when I'm watching SDR content. Even for HDR content, there's a smart HDR, but that really didn't do much for me in terms of the preset picture quality. For Dolby Vision content, you have Dolby Vision Bright and Dolby Vision Dark. It's pretty standard what we've seen on some other televisions. Dolby Vision Bright, as the name suggests, kind of tries to highlight and accentuate the blacks because you're going to be watching this in a brightly lit room. If you're watching the TV, if you're watching it at night, to mute the blacks a little bit to give you a better black experience, you might want to use Dolby Vision Dark. So overall, the 65-inch variant of this TV is priced at 80,000 rupees. This is the one we've tested, but we think that the 55-inch variant, which is priced at about 56,000 rupees, should have similar performance considering the hardware under the hood is the same. The thing is, at 55 inches, which is the more popular space, there are a lot of options to choose from. So I would highly recommend that based on the ones that we've reviewed, and if you have any queries, let us know in the comment section below. We'll do our best to highlight which TV works for you. But for the 65-inch variant, I was hard pressed to find something with all these features at the 80,000 rupee price point. There are other TVs, and that's from iFalcon and TCL itself, which is in this price range from last year, and maybe those are some TVs that you either have considered or are considering. This one would be a better option because it's a newer generation of a television. TCL says that it will support the operating system for the next 3 iterations for the TV, so that's great. It's giving you some longevity as well, so you could have this TV for the next 5 to 7 years, and I'm guessing you'd be okay with it. At an 80,000 rupee price point for the 65-inch size, where size matters, yes, you can absolutely consider this TV because of the price to size ratio. But if you are considering the 50-inch or the 55-inch variant, I would suggest that you take a look at your options before finally making a buying decision, because picture quality and a good smart UI are two things that you should absolutely consider when picking up a TV. So let us know what you thought of this review in the comment section below. As always, we'd love to help you make a better buying decision when you're buying a television. And for more from the world of technology and to stay up to date with the latest from the world of gadgets, be it reviews or news, you can log on to digit.in. We will catch you in another video. We hope you are still staying at home and staying safe. It's goodbye for now.